Welcome to the Working Title Podcast, a podcast where we're always working on something different. Today we're going to be talking about something wildly different from what we usually talk about. Quite an amazing show on Netflix called Bojack Horseman. Started in 2014 and just finished up not too long ago in 2020. My name is Seamus. Today I am joined by Josh. How you doing, bud?
Doing great, bro.
Awesome. So yeah, we're going to be talking about Bojack Horseman, kind of like hitting the points that we really like throughout the entire series. And maybe kind of going over the ending, if you feel like it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it's definitely an ending. You know.
Yeah. Did you also hear like from the creators, or do you have any information that was conclusively the last season?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so that was something that was established.
Yeah.
That was going to be the last.
As far as I know, they had written the story up until that point.
God, it's almost like a Breaking Bad in a way. Where
a
just,
little bit.
You know,
it's
they only had planned to do that many seasons. They could probably do another season. They could probably do 3 more seasons if they wanted to. It's that good. There's enough to dive into, I think.
Yeah, I would have to say so. I think
they have enough characters. They have enough. The writing is just so goddamn outstanding that they really could do it.
Yeah.
Do it. I sounded like a fucking yeah, let's do it. Hey.
I don't know. I think after the last full season, I don't think there's much that they can do with the Bojack character anymore. I think if they wanted to, they could continue with other characters.
Yes. But
I think the redemption arc that they reached with the main character of Bojack kind of ended. So I think if they wanted to continue the show, it would have to be focused around somebody else.
Like Princess Carolyn.
Yeah, I think if they wanted to, they can make a spin-off show.
Yeah.
That would be cool to see.
I would definitely watch it now at this point.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I would watch it for sure.
I don't know. I think the story of Bojack Horseman really centers around that character of Bojack.
Oh, it definitely does.
You know? Yeah.
Definitely. I mean, let's just do a little backtracking, just a little bit of backtracking. So I was very hesitant to watch this show for years. I've not been watching it on purpose. I've been very close-minded towards it. And now I have to say, after watching it and really enjoying it, that kudos to Netflix, dude. This is a really great show. This is like, up to me, one of their monster hits, up there with like, let's see, what's the other one? Stranger Things and a couple other ones that I can't immediately think of, but good for them, dude. Yeah, this could have easily worked on network television.
Oh, definitely. I think if they wanted to, it could have been a network TV show. Yeah. It would have been one of those.
I don't think the networks would have let it be what it ultimately was, though. I mean, it's not filthy show, but I mean, some of the content's like, you know, a little. Yeah,
there's a lot of like poking fun at Hollywood.
Yeah, which I love. Yeah, it's one of the greater aspects of the show.
It definitely is really, really good.
Just making it an absurd spectacle.
Yeah,
show business.
Yeah, I don't think if it was a network show, they could get away with as much as they did. Yeah, because they poked fun at everybody. You know.
Yeah, I think South Park and Family Guy are probably the only network shows that can get away with that level of absurdity because they're so popular and the networks need them so much.
Yeah, and they've been around for
because
years.
They're fucking dying.
Yeah,
because they aren't putting out great content like the streaming services, especially now, dude. I mean, Comedy Central, they've got to really hold on to South Park, dude.
Yeah,
I mean, and just in general, like just with mainstream shows. Why does every sitcom that comes out now, why does it have to be, you know, all gender groups had to be involved, and it's just the same fucking corny bullshit.
Yeah, because it makes them money.
Yeah, it's all
Middle America eats that shit up.
Yeah, I guess so, man. I guess it's just not sustainable. I feel like the next generation that's used to YouTube, and we've been over this.
Yeah, all the time, but it's, you know, sometimes you got to go over the same thing.
Yeah, it's just fucking... So I'm definitely glad that this was on Netflix. It's just cool to be able to. I really liked being able to watch the show from start to finish at my own leisure, and I took my time with it for sure. There was times I'd just not watch it for a few days, or sometimes even longer. Sometimes I'd watch 3 or 4 episodes in a row. They're long episodes.
Yeah, I think 30, 45 minutes.
So when did you watch it from the bat?
Yes,
like when it first came out.
Yeah, from the so it came out in 2014.
It's a long time ago. Shit.
I was still in high school.
Damn, man.
when it came out. It's dating me, making
Yeah, you
telling
fucking
me
old
my
fuck.
age.
Jesus,
but,
Seamus.
Yeah, I watched it from the get-go. I remember watching the first season and being like, this is really good. I want to see more of this. And then be like, oh, I have to wait like 6 months until the next season comes out. And it's like, God damn it.
Oh, man.
Yeah. And then I watched every season as soon as it came out.
And all the seasons are good in their own way. There's not that.
There's some that are weaker, but
only
still
slightly
really good.
though.
Yeah, there's still
and that usually
really,
doesn't
really
happen when you're talking about any show that goes longer than 5 seasons, dude. There's gonna be some weak spots.
Yeah.
In one of those seasons or a few of them.
Yeah.
Fuck, dude. We've all seen it where like only 1 or 2 seasons is good and the rest are just garbage.
Yeah,
Everybody's
happens all the time.
Yeah, it happens, man.
If it makes it
It's
that
just
long.
hard to keep it fresh.
Yes.
You know, hard to keep like what made it cool in the first place is hard to preserve that and stay authentic to the original idea and not have to let too much outside influence or like new writers put the wrong twists and turns on the product. You know?
100%.
So that's crazy. You watched it from the very beginning and you watched
Very
each
beginning.
season as it came out.
Yep.
Wow, that's crazy, bro.
It's probably one of my favorite TV shows of all time.
It's one of the best of all time, for sure.
Oh, definitely.
This instantly goes in my top 10.
Yeah.
I think.
It's so
How about you? Is that in your top 10?
Yeah, it's in my top 10. It's
that
probably
good?
number 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't feel like I'm watching a cartoon when I'm watching it. It's just so usually you have to kind of not suspend your disbelief, but you feel like you're watching a cartoon when you're watching South Park or Family Guy. But it just has a really human feeling to it.
Right. Even though it's a TV show about animals and humans living together.
In their universe, it's Bojack Horseman lives in Hollywood.
Well, it was Hollywood, and then they stole the D from the Hollywood sign.
He's a horse, and he's like having, there's all sorts of, I wouldn't say bestiality, but, like different animals having sex with different animals. And, it's just a really crazy little universe that they've created there.
Yeah. Oh, it's so, all the jokes that you can come up with, it's just so inventive.
It's really well written, really, characters are like, they have so many. Like just looking at the cast of people who did the voiceovers for the characters, you could see that they had some real heavy hitters. Oh yeah, and they stayed for all of the seasons, which is even cooler.
Yeah, nobody died, nobody was replaced.
Yeah,
true. And even when they had like celebrity actors come in, they played their own characters.
Yeah,
like, they played themselves within
cool.
the show, and it was like, oh, that's awesome, that's hilarious. But the way that the writers took it was they took the personality of the person and just kind of
made it ridiculous.
Yeah, a little bit. They were like times 10 on the personality of Tom Cruise or somebody like that.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah, really
and the wordplay that they used throughout the first season, all the long sentences of just like all the
really great dialogue.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of weakness in this show. I mean, from a writing standpoint, everything feels super well thought out, super well constructed. Like you could tell that there was a lot of thought put into it.
Yeah, a lot of thought.
Which is a good thing. Sometimes you see shit and you could tell that maybe there wasn't the amount of editing that should have been done. Mm-hmm. I'm sure I didn't phrase that right. But you can just see sometimes in other television shows where they maybe could have worked a little harder on the script to make it more tight and concise. And I don't feel like that's an issue with BoJack at all. It's tight and concise.
Yeah. There's never a point where you... well, obviously, it's super heavily edited, and there's a bunch of writers on it, so, and they all stayed together. It was all the same writers.
Did they add writers at all, I wonder?
I'm not entirely sure. I don't... I'm sure they did at some point, just because it became such a project. Yeah. But I'm not entirely sure how big the team was or how small the team was.
I think that's just got to be such. It seems like it would be a really cool and super fun job. Like you have this great show, this great premise. You wake up every day, you go to the studio lot, you sit in the writer's room all day.
Right.
But like, how long until the shine of that life wears off and you're like struggling for ideas, like to actually make it past those struggles that these writers probably face, like that's because eventually that's got to get to you when you're creative and you're especially TV writers and movie writers. I know that they were putting in long fucking hours.
Oh yeah.
It's definitely like the same thing with filming movies. It's not uncommon to hear about 12, 16-hour days.
Yeah.
And especially in the animating too. That probably
it gets ridiculous.
That takes a whole other staff with a whole other fucking skill set to orchestrate that with all the voiceovers, all the engineers you need, all the just technical aspects of it. It's just such a cool thing to watch, put all together.
Yeah, it's really cool to see behind the scenes stuff.
Is there any behind the scenes for BoJack? I gotta check on that.
There's a little bit. They show it's like people walking through the offices and this is really cool. Look at that. Look, they're animating the show, that sort of thing. It's kind of talking about how they animate it. And it's all done in what used to be Flash, or Adobe Flash, which is now called Adobe Animate.
Yeah.
And it's all done in that program. And it's fucking amazing.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Is that like one of the industry standard programs for animating?
Kind of. It makes it a little bit easier.
What's the main one?
Animate's kind of the main one. There's a couple others that are pretty much the same thing.
What's the Pro Tools of the animating software world?
I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah.
All I know is Animate.
Yeah.
Yeah. Adobe's kind of been the industry standard for a long time.
Adobe makes great shit, dude.
Yes.
They do. For sure.
Yeah.
Like this DAW that we're using right now.
Yeah. We're recording an Audition.
Yeah.
It's super useful.
It's super good for fucking podcasts.
It is. It works really well.
Yeah. Do you have anything bad to say about Bojack Horseman?
No. I don't have anything bad to say about it.
I know this is wonderful, man.
Yeah.
We got nothing but positivity.
Yeah, I really liked all of the characters. I think it was season 2 or 3 they introduced a love or a relationship between Bojack Horseman and a owl character.
Oh,
remember that?
Yeah,
I can't remember what her name was.
Yeah.
But I think that it was kind of strange how they introduced it right at the beginning of the season, and then you watch that relationship kind of grow, and I'm not entirely sure how to put it, but it felt strange.
Yeah.
A little bit. Yeah, it was very odd. Whereas all the other relationships as the show went on felt more real because there was a little bit more tension, I guess.
Yeah.
You could feel that the writers had something and they were trying to build it to a point.
Yeah.
The Mr. Peanut Butter and Pickles relationship,
yes, I know
where
what you're saying.
they introduced that at the end of season 4, and then throughout season 5 they were kind of building this relationship up.
Yeah.
And it just kind of done,
Yeah.
just off screen kind of ended, but that makes complete sense for those characters. Yes. Whereas with Bojack Horseman and the owl girl.
Yeah. Horse and an owl doesn't make sense, bro. I'm just kidding.
Horsing around? Is that what you're
No, horse and an owl.
Oh, yeah. It doesn't make sense at all. But
that's another funny thing about it is the Horsing Around show.
Yes. It's the best.
Yes.
The theme song for the entire show is one of my favorites.
Didn't the dude from Black Keys craft that by hand?
Did he?
That year?
I'm not entirely sure.
I think so. I remember reading that somewhere.
Huh. I love it. It's my favorite. And all the different renditions that they do of the theme song.
Oh, you're talking about back in the 90s? Yeah, I like that a lot. I was talking about the intro song was by the drummer from the Black Keys.
For Horsing Around? Or for...
No, for just the Bojack Horseman show.
Oh, yeah. The intro song.
Yeah, the intro song.
That song is amazing. I'm talking about back in the 90s. The outro song, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love it when they go back. They do a time skip back to the 90s, and the song is we're in the 90s.
Yeah.
It's the best.
I know, I love that. All the variations that come.
Yeah.
It's fucking great.
Oh man. And when they're in the 90s and they're having to explain oh man, isn't it great that we're in the 90s? I just love it. It's so hilarious.
Oh, the 90s.
It fits the show so perfectly well to be just so self-referential to the real world.
Yes.
Absolutely. So what's one of your favorite characters? Because it's a show about characters.
Yes. Love Princess Carolyn. By far my favorite character.
She's really good. All of her writing is fantastic.
Yes.
All of her dialogue.
She's just so likable to me. I always like what they do with her character, her perspective on things, just how this shit that they have her say is just really good all the way through.
I really enjoyed when they gave her backstory.
Yeah, definitely.
Remember that?
Well, when she went to have a baby and stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, that was a very interesting. I really enjoyed that as well.
Yeah, because this show goes through character development very well.
Yeah.
Because like the first season and second season don't.
Yeah, they don't really dive deep into you don't really see the deep dive into the character's backstory until the later seasons.
Yeah, I think it's season 3 that they start introducing like Bojack's parents.
Yeah.
Like heavily throwing them in there and like when he goes
really
to
showing why Bojack is so fucked up.
Yeah, and you see that early on, but you see like shadows.
Yeah,
that's all you see.
You see like
he's
brief.
like a little kid.
You see it briefly.
Yeah, but once they start introducing his parents, it's like holy shit.
Yeah,
you know, it's so good.
Yeah.
Ah man, I love the one episode from was it season 4 or 5? The one before the last one, where it's just the monologue. Will Arnett just does a whole monologue the entire episode. Oh yeah.
That is really good.
It's probably one of my favorite episodes of television of all time.
Definitely.
It's just amazing.
Definitely. Will Arnett really crushes it with that voice too.
Yes.
For sure.
Yeah. It's so close to his own, but just different enough.
And I gotta say, for some reason, like, I don't want to say that I'm not a fan of Will Arnett, but he's been in a couple of things where I'm just like, I just don't really, there's something about him that I don't like gravitate towards.
Right.
Like if he had his own Netflix show where he was like starring in it. I watched a couple episodes and I was just like not into it.
What was that?
I think it was called You or something.
Oh, okay. I think
maybe it's probably good. Maybe I was just being a stupid asshole, which I often am about shows. Like obviously with BoJack, I waited all this time until 2020 to finally watch it.
You know,
because I was stupid before.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. A lot of people do that.
But definitely impressed with how he did BoJack's voice and how he just did the character such justice.
Yeah,
you know?
Everything was just so good.
Yeah,
God. I don't know. I really enjoyed Todd.
Yeah, you enjoyed Todd, huh?
Yeah. My favorite character from the whole show is probably BoJack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's definitely my second.
Yeah. I don't know why. Obviously, since he's the main character, but there's just so much to unpack there.
Yeah.
And the last couple episodes are just so good.
Yeah.
To really bring all of the character development for his character.
Yeah.
And some of the characters that are like really attached to him, like Mr. Peanut Butter and Diane.
Yeah. I like Diane a lot too.
Yeah, Diane's
cool.
Yeah. I think for me, Diane's number 2.
Yeah.
Because,
she's like Daria, kind of. Do you remember Daria?
You
might be a little too young for Daria, but that used to be a show.
I'm too young.
Yeah.
I've seen like snippets.
Yeah,
every once in a while.
If you go on Google and you type in Daria and you look at the cartoon character, you'll see that similarity.
It's very similar.
I think they even make a reference to it in the show
multiple times.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, what are you trying to do, Daria?
It's hilarious, bro.
Yeah. I don't know.
What do you think of Mr. Peanut Butter?
Mr. Peanut Butter is great. Paul F. Tompkins does such a goddamn good job.
Yeah.
Voicing
what is
that
this
character.
crossover episode? I don't know. I guess maybe my reasons behind not liking Todd's character is it's not that I don't like his character.
Mm-hmm.
It's maybe more that sometimes he goes off on these really wacky tangents.
Yeah.
And I just thought some of the time they did that, it was just stupid and kind of boring. I was like bored by it. And that was really the only time in the show that I was
ever bored about something.
Yeah. So maybe that's more what it was. I mean, it definitely has some funny moments. It's funny to see him like when he becomes the CEO of
what time is it?
Yeah, I thought that was really hilarious. So I guess I don't like full scale hate him, but or he created the sex robot. That's really funny too.
That's probably my least favorite bit. It was just so strange.
Yeah, it was really weird.
But oh man, the reason that you don't like him is the reason that I like him so much.
You just like, this is so wacky.
Yeah, because the show it starts off being kind of like, this is kind of a sitcom a little bit, but the writing's so much better. And then it kind of devolves, or I don't know if you would say devolve or evolve. Mm-hmm. It either gets better for you or it gets worse. Yeah. Because it goes dark, like really dark. Like slowly it descends into this like BoJack having to deal with his alcoholism and his past and like how to get over that and being an asshole throughout the entire thing.
Yeah.
It's like, if you're not ready for that, it's maybe not the best show.
Yeah, definitely not.
And then once they have Todd doing some weird stuff, it like alleviates all of the pressure.
Yeah, that's true. Kind of is more like, yeah, there's definitely a nice juxtaposition between the wackiness that Todd brings and then the sadness and darkness that Bojack brings. And that's also a thing that makes it just so good, is that, you know, it in my mind, when I think of like a very popular actor who may have fallen into drugs,
right?
You know,
yeah,
that's an easy path to fall down when you're like a famous actor living in Hollywood.
Yeah,
I feel like that kind of maybe reflects some real life things that have happened to certain actors. Bojack struggles,
probably. Yeah.
You know, so it's just interesting. You know, he's like gobbling up pills and drinking
all the time,
getting fucked up, and like treating people like shit.
Yeah,
just being a total asshole, but you still just love him.
Yeah, the show's fantastic.
It's really good. Would you give it a 10 out of 10, Seamus?
Yeah. I would probably, I would give it a 10 out of 10.
Yeah, I think this is the first one I would actually give a 10 out of 10 to.
Really?
Yeah.
Man,
I was just waiting for the time when we could have one to give 10 out of 10 to.
And it's like the perfect show.
It is, dude.
Yeah.
It definitely
As a
is.
TV show, it's perfect.
Back in the 90s, that was a very famous TV show.
Mm-hmm. Man.
Yeah. You should definitely watch it. Don't be like me and fucking... Yeah, I watched one episode and I didn't like it.
Yeah.
Biatch.
I think for most people it's because it's a cartoon that they don't give it a try.
I don't even think that was it for me. I just wasn't... Sometimes you're just not ready for shit.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
But then when I was ready for it, it was like a wonderful thing to have... Look forward to these 6 seasons. Like it's definitely been like something really enjoyable to be able to just go through all these seasons and just a continuous flow at my leisure on Netflix. Love Netflix, bro.
Yeah.
So awesome.
Now you got to watch Arrested Development if you haven't.
Oh, dude, that's another one. People,
good.
I've been hearing from people whose opinion about television and media that I really respect over the years, telling me all sorts of things about how great this show is.
Yeah.
And again, I think I just gotta be ready for it.
Yeah. Arrested Development is such a different show from Bojack, but it's kind of the same comedy.
It's a little wacky in the same way. It's like the family and they're kind of like dysfunctional.
Very eccentric.
Yeah.
I love it.
I did watch almost the whole first season, and for some reason I don't remember why I just stopped watching it. But is it on Netflix? Is it gonna be off at a certain point?
I hope not. I think they own it because they produced the last 2 seasons.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So what was it on, like Fox before?
Yeah, it was on Fox for 2 seasons. Then it was taken off because it wasn't doing very well.
Oh, okay.
And then 3 seasons, and then it got dropped, and it was kind of in limbo. Mm-hmm. And then Netflix
came and scooped it up.
Yeah.
I think that's one that's like Scrubs, where it's like it has like a what's it called, a cult following.
Yeah. It really does, because it drops in quality for the 4th season, the first season that Netflix did.
Yeah.
But then as the 5th season was coming out, they did a rework to make it like the old show, or like it used to be.
Wait, they came out with one, it sucked, and then they put on another one?
Mm-hmm.
What?
Yeah.
Did they get rid of the other one that sucked?
Yes. Yeah, it's completely reworked now.
So what do you mean? Okay, hold on, back up. Netflix bought it.
Yes.
Did a 4th season. Mm-hmm. They put it out on their platform.
Yes.
It wasn't doing well.
Yeah.
So they subsequently redid it.
Yeah.
Put it back on the platform, got rid of the old one.
Yes.
That's fascinating.
Yeah. It's fascinating because of the way that the show was structured before.
Yes.
For the 4th season, before the restructuring, which I think that's what it's called. It's like...
Restructure?
Yeah, it's Arrested Development Restructure.
Wow.
Where the first rendition of season 4, I think it's season 4, followed each character within the family for an episode.
Yeah.
Or like 1 or 2 episodes. So you would see this character and everything they did for the entire season in one episode. Yeah. And then you would catch up with all of them in the last episode.
Oh, okay.
To see how everything kind of fit together. So they restructured it as season 5 was coming out, whichever season it was, to be more like the show used to be, which was you would follow this character, but then this thing would have implications in this other character's story, and then this character's following this character, and you had every kind of like cog turning at the same time.
Wow. That's got to be just a hard thing to do too. It's like, you know, they ran for so long at Fox, and then you're at Netflix, which is like and you're under a whole new regime, whole bunch of new executives are involved, and like, ends up being a subpar product, so they got to backtrack.
It wasn't, in my opinion,
crazy.
it wasn't subpar. I liked it in the way it was.
Yeah.
I thought it was weaker than the show used to be, but the writing was still there.
That's like what we were just talking about. It's so hard to sustain that level for so long. That's why Bojack is so impressive in shows like Breaking Bad or, you know, even Entourage. Entourage is a great show too. Just consistently good all the way through. Like there's with so many minds, especially these creative Hollywood types who are just, or creative like executive types who kind of who have power to make creative decisions, but maybe don't have the best idea of what good creativity is.
Right.
It's so, you know, that's usually the case with these big budget shows. There's usually those types, you know, involved in the process.
Yeah.
So that's why it's super impressive with shows like Bojack. And unfortunate for Arrested Development, but according to you, maybe not.
Season 5's really good.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
I got to check it out.
Yeah.
I'll check it out.
It's really good. It's such a good show.
Yeah,
but Bojack Horseman's really fucking good.
Yeah. 10 out of 10.
Yeah, I give it a 10 out of 10.
Yes.
10 out of 10. Because it's so fucking good.
Yeah, dude.
It's just so enjoyable.
Yeah, you got to check that shit out, dude.
Yeah.
Highly recommend.
Even if you think, oh, it's a cartoon, it's for kids, it's not for kids.
It's not for kids.
Yeah, it goes into some
dark
places.
Dark places.
Yeah, very dark places.
I like it.
Yeah, but check it out, BoJack Horseman. Oh, it's so good.
Oh yeah.
I can just gush over it all the time, just forever. But we'll end it here. So go check out BoJack Horseman if you haven't already. If you have, tell us down in the comments what you think, because I enjoy that a lot, getting to talk to people.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, thank you for listening to this episode of Working Title Podcast, where we talked about BoJack Horseman. Check it out if you want to. It's on Netflix. We'll catch you next time when we talk about some music or movies.
Some other shit.
Yeah. Who knows if we'll do another TV show. Yeah, that's kind of a lot of stuff to watch before doing a podcast. But yeah, thank you for listening to this episode. We'll catch you next time. Bye.
Bye.